What's the color of national pride? You could see it and feel it everywhere as Bahamians celebrated the day.
Also ahead, the other 40th anniversary the Bahamas is helping to celebrate.
And the story behind the coat of arms from the artist himself. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley.
And I'm Kendino Knowles. As always, it's good to have you with us.
Topping the news tonight, national colors and all things Bahamian saturated Roslyn Square today as Bahamians observed National Pride Day.
In the 5-day run-up to Independence Day, Governor General His Excellency Sir Arthur Folkes implored attendees to embrace the characteristics of being Bahamian.
Our Jiminita Swain was in Roslyn Square.
It's a day set aside for a collective show of patriotism and a display of national colors. During an official ceremony in Roslyn Square, Governor General His Excellency Sir Arthur Folkes shared how the celebration of national pride could move from beyond just one day. One suggestion, keeping the country clean.
The environment is also the business of each and every one of us. So let us today pledge to keep our surroundings clean, to refrain from littering, and to rebuke those who would destroy our natural heritage and those who would destroy our peace and tranquility.
Sir Arthur said while we celebrate Bahamian music and our world-class artists, rediscovering Bahamian roots of civility should not be ignored.
We were always an exuberant people, but also a kind and gentle people. A people who pride themselves on having respect for one another and for ourselves. A people with good manners. So let us not fall into the temptation of imitating the low end of other people's culture with rude, vulgar, and macho behavior.
The Independence National flag, which traveled to almost every island in the country, was also hoisted, and a wreath laid at the base of Sir Milo Butler's statue in tribute to the Fathers of Independence. Taking in the festivities were also 500 primary school students. Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture Dr. Daniel Johnson said involving students in national activities is just one way to ensure they learn more about nation building.
The interesting questions from some primary school kids from Carlton Francis Primary, and they were wondering about Milo Butler's bust and why is the Queen over there? How come she doesn't look like the Queen that they see on the money? Except so they're getting it, they're asking the questions, and they're thinking about it.
6th grade at Xavier's Lower School, Janelle Freckleton said she loved being a part of National Pride Day. She and other students took in a number of booths which lined Roslyn Square with vendors displaying all things Bahamian.
It was very good. I loved it. The singing and how they talked about the past, about the Bahamas. We're going to do well in the future.
National Pride Day is just one of the official events moving the country closer to celebrating its 40th independence. Residents are encouraged not only to wear the national colors, but also to come out tonight at Roslyn Square and celebrate with the One Love Gospel Concert. Reporting for ZNS Network News, I'm Jiminita Swain.
There's an independence-based exhibition that's worth seeing at the Bank of the Bahamas, Shirley Street.
It chronicles the independence journey and includes the elements of arts and culture, religion and sports, along with the birth of the Bank of the Bahamas, which is celebrating 25 years of existence this year. Minister of Financial Services Ryan Pinder and Minister of State for Finance Michael Halkitis were on hand for the opening of that exhibition. Minister Pinder says the bank has made great strides in its 25 years. Meantime, Chairman of the Bank of the Bahamas, Dr. Richard Demerit, says the celebrations will continue throughout the year.
The decisions for this bank are made right here in the Bahamas. And that is very unique because all the larger banks, when they have to make decisions, they need to go to Canada or England or elsewhere to get final decisions on matters. So, in this 40th year of independence, it ought to say something to you as Bahamians to be proud to know. As an independent country, we could make our own decisions right here in our country. Most of our funds that we get really comes from you, the depositors. It is you that causes this bank to be successful. And I would want to say that we have a very special group of managers and senior personnel. I can assure you, some of the sharpest minds in the Bahamas.
In our first look at weather, the atmosphere is drying out just a bit over the northwest Bahamas, but outside of our studios, we have partly cloudy skies, temperature 84 degrees, relative humidity 62%. Your winds out of the east-southeast at 10 knots, barometric pressure 1,019.0 millibars, that's 30.09 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned, temperatures around the Falmouth Islands, travel and boating forecast is still to come.
On July 4th, 1973, leaders of Caribbean countries converged on Chaguaramas, Trinidad, to sign a treaty which gave birth to CARICOM.
Exactly 40 years later, the current leaders of CARICOM signed a commemorative document to mark 40 years of integration, celebration, and renewal, led off by CARICOM Chair Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Kamala Prasad Bissessar. Julian Reed reports.
The region was just emerging from colonialism. Countries had to work together and stay together to survive. If they had any doubts, challenges like the oil crisis of the 1970s made it clear. 40 years later, Barbados Prime Minister Fri Jul says the people of the region are closer and more united than at any other period. He says the region has nothing to be ashamed of.
We have shown the world that we can come together, work together, and try to realize the dreams and aspirations of the people of this region.
President of Guyana, Donald Ramotar, however, believes that the need for integration is even greater now than it was 40 years ago.
The financial and economic crises that began in Europe and North America have impacted heavily on our region, and clearly the need for us to have greater integration has become more urgent.
But the two female leaders of the region gave a clear perspective of how the region should move forward. Jamaica's Prime Minister, Portia Simpson Miller.
We must be serious and do in our introspection in this ever-changing dynamic international community. We must ensure continuous evaluation and renewal to ensure the capacity of the movement to achieve objectives of the revised treaty. Integration is a process, not an event.
While host leader, Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Bissessar urged that the signing reenactment be a tangible rededication to the future.
Our challenge is not to be indecisive, not to hesitate, not to reverse, not to turn around. I say respectfully, our challenge is not to delay and loiter over hardship, adversity, or difficulty. Instead, our challenge is to persist and to rally on our course towards the realization of the destiny that our forefathers have set for us.
And there really is a spirit of renewal and hope here in Chaguaramas. And that's good, because the leaders understand that the things we have in common far outweigh those that we don't. At the Caribbean Heads of Government Conference in Chaguaramas, Trinidad, I'm Julian Reed for ZNS Network News.
Well, still ahead tonight, 6,000 years and counting. The PHA recognizes some of its longest-serving staffers.
And we've got the latest from the Makiko Black murder trial later on. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
reporter in an independent Bahamas has afforded me lots of opportunities. One of them, I've been able to travel the world. I've been to Malta. It's the place where some say John the Baptist was baptized. I've also been to London. I've traveled all across the Caribbean, Jamaica, Haiti, Trinidad, Grenada. I've covered numerous meetings, high-level talks like CHOGM, Caribbean heads of government meetings, and I've interviewed a number of world leaders. So being a reporter in an independent Bahamas has afforded me lots of opportunities, and I'm grateful.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Shell Helix Ultra. Performance you can see.